Self-discipline is so important in no matter what goal you're trying to achieve. You can have the biggest aspirations and goals and ideas of what you want to do, but if you are lacking self-discipline, you will probably never get there. So in today's video, I want to talk with you about self-discipline. I want to talk with you about what self-discipline is, and I want to share a couple of different strategies with you on how you can better build self-discipline into your life. So I would say, let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Arndt, and I'm a peak performance coach and stress management trainer, and I'm really excited to talk with you today about self-discipline. Self-discipline is honestly one of my favorite topics because I would actually consider myself a pretty disciplined person. Look at me, I am sitting here in front of the camera every single week recording a video for you on my YouTube channel, and I've been doing this for 3 consecutive years. I have also done this for my podcast. I've also done this for my Instagram account, for example. And if you're following me on social media, on my Instagram, you can see that even my day-to-day is pretty structured and disciplined in terms of morning routine, exercise, eating healthy, structuring my workday. And it's super important for me because it really helps me to be focused. It helps me to be productive. It helps me to be the person that I want to be. And so it was an interesting process, honestly, to sit down and prepare this video because I really had to ask myself the question, what actually helped me to become successful and to become self-disciplined? What kind of process did I follow? So I'm excited to share a couple of different strategies with you today. But before we jump into that, let's just look at the definition of self-discipline and be really clear on what self-discipline is. Self-discipline is the ability to get yourself to take action regardless of your emotional state. And I also really like the following 2 definitions. Number 2, self-discipline is the ability to make yourself do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. And finally, self-discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. So what I already described in the intro of the video. If you're having a lot of goals, but you're not self-disciplined enough, you're probably not going to see any results. And so let's talk about the strategies. What can you do in order to develop self-discipline, in order to be a more self-disciplined person and stick more to the things that you say you want to do? The first strategy that I want to share with you in order to help you build more self-discipline is to build an identity. What does it mean? In order to help you a little bit better understand what I mean by that, I want to share a quote from James Clear from his book Atomic Habits. He says, "Improvements are only temporary until they become a part of who you are." So he basically says that you need to differentiate between just setting a goal and building an identity around who you want to be. Who do you want to become? This is so powerful. So instead of saying, I want to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a day, or not 2 or 3 times a day, 2 or 3 times a week, or I want to eat healthier, or I want to set better time management rules for me, it is more powerful to basically create an identity around this. So instead of saying, I want to work out 2 or 3 times a week, you should consider yourself an athlete, or you should consider yourself a really healthy person. Like, it's a lifestyle change, right? It's an identity change when you are setting goals like that. And if you are just having these goals, oftentimes the motivation to get there is not strong enough. But as soon as you start to identify as a peak performer, or as an athlete, or as an extremely healthy person, then it's all of a sudden an identity. And that really triggers something in the brain that switches to, okay, I am this person, so how am I going to show up every single day? And that has helped me so much over the last couple of years, especially the thing around considering myself an athlete. Because when I get up in the morning and I ask myself, who do I want to be today? Who do I want to become? And I'm answering the question with, I want to be an athlete. Then I ask myself the next question, which is, what would an athlete do? And an athlete would, train on a regular basis, take regular breaks, eat well, sleep well, take care of themselves. And that's who I want to be. And that identity is really empowering me to become that person. And it's the same thing with the peak performer, right? My business, and I'm calling you the peak performers because you are peak performers. You are trying to be your best self. And if you ask yourself the question, how is a peak performer showing up? How am I making sure that I'm always on top of my performance? Then you might find the answer that you've always been looking for and the motivation maybe that you've been lacking. So the very first important strategy if you want to build more self-discipline is to really build your goals around an identity instead of just the goal itself. The second strategy that I want to share with you today is to embrace resistance. We all feel it if we are setting new goals, if we are creating a new identity and we're trying to move towards that new identity or goal, then we will feel resistance. It's absolutely normal, it's absolutely human that you are feeling resistance, but we all feel it. And this is something that you have to remind yourself of. Even the people that you're seeing on Instagram or the people that you admire because they've had a really successful life, those people are defined by their discipline because they have learned that even though they may sometimes not feel like doing something, they are still going to do it. And that is really what differentiates maybe the medium successful people from the super successful people. And when we are talking about self-discipline, we have to talk about how to build a self-discipline muscle, because just like anything else, when we're talking about self-discipline, it is creating a habit or a routine, right? It is that process of doing something on a regular basis in order to become a total second nature to you. It becomes automatic. And I always love, obviously, gym and sports related analogies because I consider myself an athlete, and the muscle analogy really helps me to describe what I'm trying to say. When you're going to the gym at the beginning, the first 4 weeks, the first 6 weeks, you're not going to see muscle build from one day to another. It will take you 4 to 6 weeks to actually see the first results. So you have to consistently go in order to see small changes. And that's the exact same thing with self-discipline as well. So in order to see that process, and I think in order to embrace it and really enjoy it, you need to do it for a while. And so it is a muscle that you are building just as like you do anything else. And so embrace the resistance, understand that everyone is feeling this way, and just keep on chipping away at it. Strategy number 3 that I want to share with you in order to help you build better self-discipline is to manage your stress levels. I say it all the time, and sometimes you probably wonder what again has managing stress levels to do with self-discipline. And it actually has a lot to do with each other. Because, let me explain. When you are experiencing high levels of stress, then you're moving from your rational mind into your emotional mind, because the higher stress levels you have accumulated in your body, the more your body is trying to just survive. And when it is in survival mode, it is basically moving from the rational mind to the emotional mind in order to stay safe. And as I mentioned already before, I already read to you this definition, but I'm going to say it again, which is self-discipline is the ability to make yourself do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. And so when you're in a very emotional state and you feel a lot of things because you have a lot of high levels of stress, then it's going to be much, much harder to have self-discipline and to continue doing what you've maybe set out to do. And so when you are decreasing your stress levels, when you're going back into your rational mind, you can actually make better decisions and you might feel less things, so it will be easier to actually stick to the things that you set out to do. So managing your stress levels when you want to build self-discipline is absolutely super crucial and important. So make sure that you are investing in yourself, that you are taking regular breaks throughout the workday, that you are exercising or moving your body, that you're eating healthy, that you're getting enough sleep, really the basic things of human needs, in order to make sure that then that sets you up kind of for the next steps of evolution as well, of the next steps of the things that you want to achieve and do. Managing stress, if you want to learn more about it, I'm obviously all about stress management. So there's a long list of videos on my YouTube channel that you can check out. So let's keep it at that and actually move into the next strategy, which has something to do actually with your stress levels. So strategy number 4, when it comes to building your self-discipline, is to practice self-discipline in the morning. And why am I saying this? So if you are establishing a new habit or a new routine, then I would really highly suggest to you to try and do that in the morning hours, because we are all waking up in the morning with a certain level of energy, and we are having a certain energy account that is depleted throughout the course of the day. And every time we are doing something, we're basically taking energy out, and when we are resting, when we're disconnecting, when we're taking care of ourselves, we're putting energy back in. And so in the mornings, our self-discipline and our mental state is usually much higher and much stronger, because over the course of the day, when we're accumulating stress and when we are decreasing our energy, we have less of that, right? You know exactly that what I'm talking about, right? For example, in the morning you wake up, you have all these good intentions, and then 8 hours later, after a super stressful work day, you think to yourself, I really want to go to the gym tonight, but I just don't have the energy anymore. And it's not that you don't have the physical energy, because you've just been sitting for 8 hours, but you don't have the mental capacity to make that decision to go. You don't have that mental strength. And so doing things in the morning is really powerful. I really highly encourage you to try that out and to get the first important things done for you in the morning, and that will help you build that self-discipline muscle. And when you're starting to see little accomplishments and little progresses, then it is obviously much easier to keep on going as well. So try to integrate self-discipline times into the morning hours of your day. And the last strategy that I want to share with you today in order to build self-discipline is to focus on progress and not on perfect trends. Yes, I think we can all relate to this, especially at the start of the new year. We are thinking, I just want to go to the gym 5 times a day, or I'm going to be perfect at this. And as soon as we are not, we are giving up. Let's be honest. There's a lot of studies around that as well. I think 80% of people are abandoning their New Year's resolutions by mid-February. And that's for a good reason, because we are oftentimes setting unrealistic goals and we don't have the identity. We are not connecting to who we want to be. We are just looking at that goal as kind of a independent kind of factor in our life instead of making it our own. And so it is really important that you are focusing on making progress, on taking really small steps, but taking these small steps and not being discouraged if you are sometimes not successful. And you know, when I'm talking about this, I can obviously totally relate to this, because I sometimes have really good streaks, right? I sometimes work out like 5 times a week consecutively, and it makes me feel really good. And then I have a week where I just work out once a week or twice a week, and I'm not getting discouraged by that. I'm looking at my calendar because I'm tracking all of these kind of things, all of the goals that I'm trying to get to, and I'm looking at my calendar and I'm thinking, okay, wasn't a perfect week, right? But I'm still going to keep on going because it is an important goal for me. I'm considering myself an athlete. I understand that not every week is like the next, and I will just keep on going because that is who I am and that is how I want to define myself. So focus on progress, even if it is really small progress instead of perfect streaks. And don't be discouraged if sometimes you might even completely disconnect from a goal or from a thing that you're trying to achieve for a week, because every single day is a new day to start again. And that's all I wanted to share with you today about self-discipline. If you have any questions for me or any comments, make sure that you are leaving them down below. And all I have left to say is thank you so much for watching this video today. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I really hope to see you in the next one.